Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce Todd Rothstein, soon to be DTM, not quite yet, but soon to be DTM Todd Rothstein. Take it away, Todd.
Thank you. Tom, I like that you made sure to tell people I'm not a DTM. I'm just an average Toastmaster. I'm just a Toastmaster. And yet I have this opportunity to speak to you all on the first presentation webinar for District 45. And it's striving for success. What I always go back to, fellow Toastmasters, is that the key to Toastmasters is what it said is Toastmasters, where leaders are made. And it was always interesting because when I first heard that at a TLI 2 or 3 years into Toastmasters, where I did my best to do speeches and contests and everything I could possibly, fall workshops, that stuck with me, that it's not always about the speech, but the leadership. And the leadership then helps through doing speeches. And tonight, I will introduce you to 2 documents that could help you as a leader in helping prospects and new members on their path for their educational journey. The club orientation booklet, which is something that we send to prospects, somebody who inquires, what is Toastmasters? Do I fit in? And I'll take just a few minutes to go through that, because I feel that that's day one of someone's Toastmaster introductory. And then the first 90-day booklet. And that booklet, the first 90 days, was designed, honestly, for an existing member as a mentor, to say, what do I teach this person in their first 3 months as Toastmasters? What are they supposed to learn? What are they supposed to figure out? What should I be telling them when we meet? I felt that those first 90 days can make or break somebody's experience in Toastmasters. But before I show you the presentations of those booklets, it's a simple question. Why did you join Toastmasters? I just want 2 or 3 people. I'm going to call on you because I want this to go fast. So, Kathy, since you unmuted, why don't you tell us quickly, why did you join Toastmasters?
I always wanted to join Toastmasters, and I always wanted to join Rotary. And I was at a seniors fair in the community at one of the high schools, and I was going through, and there was 2 people from Riverside Toastmasters who were there and inviting people to join. And I said, sure. So I went the next week.
Nice. Thank you.
And when I went to the meeting, they asked me to come to the TLIs for the area or whatever on the Saturday. So I went to it and had a great time and got to drive in an electric car for the first time. So it was really neat.
Awesome. Well, electric car. Thank you, Kathy. Sandra, would you unmute and just tell us your first, what was the motivation that brought you to Toastmasters? Why did you join?
It was from my employer. I had moved from Minnesota to California to work for Adobe, and they wanted me to get rid of my Minnesota accent. But they also saw a speaker in me, and the plan was I was going to speak internationally representing one of the products. So a company or a Toastmasters group came into our cafe and gave a demo meeting. And the president of the club said, the president of the company said, that's what we need. And then he turned to me and says, and will you be the president? And what we found was that the engineers who joined the club were the engineers that got promoted into management versus the engineers who continued to go on and not be able to speak at a meeting or answer a question from an luminary in the area. And that was in 1988, 34 years ago.
Well, thank you very much. Michael, last one. Just let us know what was the motivating factor and why you joined Toastmasters? Michael, love,
Yep.
yeah.
I joined Toastmasters because my employer actually said that I needed Toastmasters.
Yeah.
And I mainly joined because of my need for better impromptu speaking.
Mhm.
That's what I needed at work. And I actually spent my first year just doing table topics.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael. I joined Toastmasters to improve my presentation skills. Now, I knew that I had the courage to stand up in front of other people. And yes, my hands would shake and my pulse would go out of control, but I still did it. What I needed to learn was how to manage those sensations in my body to be able to reach more people at a greater depth. And that's what I wanted to learn, and that's what I have still been learning at Toastmasters. Now, what's interesting is I was introduced recently to a woman named Amesha Banerjee, and she is a distinguished Toastmaster and a PhD. And I think it was at the last conference where Thomas or so had said, you should listen to this person's TEDx talk. And what she did in her TED talk was explain that when people feel vulnerable, the primitive parts of their brain gets activated to coordinate the body's survival response to danger. Now, what's interesting is that many of the people, maybe not you all, but many people that join Toastmasters come from that perspective. For some reason, and there's a million different reasons why somebody walks through our doors, but most often they're going to tell us the reason they're there is because they need to do public speaking. They have a leadership role, but they don't have their voice and they're scared. And so I wanted to share this with you because these are the people that you and I have got to take care of from that perspective. Getting in front of a group for the first time when you're afraid is a similar and primitive role to staring down a lion. It's that frightening. And so, yes, practice makes perfect. Practice overcomes fear, but we have to be able to coddle. We have to be able to nurture. We have to be able to show people how to be comfortable as soon as possible within Toastmasters. That's what this meeting tonight is all about. Some other thing I wanted to talk to you about was who went car shopping within the last 5 years? You know, right? You just quick raise your hand. If you've gone car shopping and you figure, okay, I'm going to go into the first dealership, look around for a few cars. I'm going to ask the salesperson, hey, how much does that cost? They're going to give me a price and I'll figure it out, head to the next dealership, and I'll do this for the afternoon. That was the old way. You used to drive to the dealerships, give you a price, you go on. Well, if you've gone car shopping, at least in the last 5 years, it goes something a lot different. Like you show up at a dealership, the car salesperson comes and greets you, asks you some questions, you walk around, you see a car, you test drive it, you come back. And then the next time you look at your clock, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm a year older and I haven't even bought a car yet. I've been here so long. And I wondered about that. And it's not happenstance. They have a plan. They have a process. And I wanted to share some process with you. Fellow Toastmasters, do you have a plan? I mean, this is more than a rhetorical question. When you get a prospective member, do you have the specific document that you send them that gives you the explanation? When a member joins, does everybody know what their role is? and how to get them all their information and how to get them onto the pathways and how to show them how to get onto their websites and speeches. Do you have that written down? Does everybody do it the same? Does everybody do it different? Years ago, when I first joined Toastmasters, I was in a club that had, as most do, ebbs and flows, ups and downs. And I was voluntold quite eloquently to be the vice president of education and then the president. And we were down to about 8 members. And then all of a sudden we started to grow because we changed our culture. And I realized then we have new members mentoring newer members and no one knows what to do. And so we needed to create a document to be able to create a legacy for other Toastmasters to train people to at least understand what's expected of them so they can prosper. And I'd like to start at 7:19. I'd like to start showing you at least the first booklet, which I talked to you earlier about. It's the orientation booklet. Raise of hands, who here has, when a prospect does inquire, do you have a booklet that you send them? Do they know exactly all about Toastmasters? All right, that's great. I'm going to show you what Blueberry Hill has put together. I'm going to share my screen. And we'll start now. Everybody see this? We'll spend 10 minutes on this document. What I wanted to accomplish with this document is to be able to answer most people's questions right with their first email. And it can be emailed, of course, it can be printed and as a perspective document if people come live. So it's welcome Blueberry Hill Toastmasters booklet. On the second page, we created a table of contents. And each one of these questions are part of the booklet and they can all be clicked and there's hyperlinks, but I'm not going to do that tonight. What we talk about Toastmasters, what is it? Where our location is, our mission statement, not just Blueberry Hills, the Toastmasters mission statement. What can Toastmasters do for you? What's the benefits for being a Toastmaster? The pathways and the experience, which have been updated. Learning paths, of course. How do I join Blueberry Hill? Now, 2 days ago, I was in a training for the vice presidents of memberships. And one of the things that people still get hung up on is asking a prospect to be a member, as if it's a big, scary ask. But if you actually guide them through, hey, this is what you're going to do. You're going to read this. You're going to go through these tasks. You'll come to a meeting, and then you'll provide us with your membership. If you just talk about it right up front, there's no fear. This is the ask, and this is what they get out of coming. They get the benefits of the Toastmasters experience. So I'm going to go to the second page. I'm going to go through the pages. When I talk to you about Toastmasters, quick information. And then in my club, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew where we were located. We happen to be in Portland. You could do the same. You could modify this if you wanted to. Mission statement, of course, is the Toastmasters International mission statement. The values of Toastmasters International. What Toastmasters can do for you. Better speaker, better leader. And everyone goes through those doors has either one or both of those requirements, those needs that they're trying to fulfill. You see, people are seeking to learn something new, and somebody told them about us. And all I want to make sure in this particular document is to let them know, if you're looking to be a better speaker, if you're looking to be a better leader, we're the place when we have the educational documentation. And it's not just happenstance. It's all documented right here. You can see it right away. There are clear member benefits, increased confidence, unique means of learning, access to professionally prepared educational materials, experience in leadership, unlimited opportunities, Toastmaster magazine, which I've used today in creating this presentation, continuing development, and affiliation with an internationally education organizations. It's real stuff. So why act like we're just individual rugby clubs when we're a bigger deal? And so if we all talk the same message, we look like a bigger deal. And then how does it work? Which is a simple explanation. And then we get to the Toastmaster pathways. These are the 5 core competence that we know about, what you and I do, but a prospect has no idea. When they look at public speaking, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership, management, and confidence, these are real buzzwords that they reach people, they speak to people, and they answer a lot of people's concerns. And then here are the 11 paths and how you go through your 5 levels of education. I feel that it's better to have all this information up front for people to read than for them to slowly, after weeks and months, figure out 1 or 2 things at a time. Because again, put your best foot forward and have it available. How do I join? In this case, how do I join Blueberry Hill Toastmasters? Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty simple. And this is, I think everyone should just have this down pat. Visit our club, meet our members, become comfortable, maybe even join into the meeting like your table topic or quiz master question. And then, of course, at the end, your vice president of membership will provide you with an application. You'll fill it out. There is a fee. It's depending on the month of the year that you joined, so the fee varies. And then congratulations, you're a new member of Toastmasters. It's really that simple. If a person's coming looking, you want to show them how to get it. That's what this booklet can do. And what do I get when I join? Well, we explain it. What happens when I join the club? We tell you what happens. And this is the biggest one right here, which we're going to go through separately in document number 2. Club membership support. And I'm just going to take an extra second on this because, or moment. I realized that when I was the president of a club, that, you know, when we were legacy members, and a lot of you know what legacy is in this club, excuse me, in this webinar, I paid my dues, I got a book, I held it in my hands, and I followed each of the 10 speeches. And I had a person, a mentor, who's here tonight, actually, Sergey, who I wrote my speech out and he critiqued me, and it was all tangible. And then when we went to Pathways on the Toastmasters International website, it wasn't so tangible. It wasn't so easy for people to understand, where do I go? What do I sign up for? Where do I get it? What is it? And so it really does speak to the need for a mentor at all times. And so you can have a mentor. Does the mentor even know what they're supposed to try to accomplish with the new member? And that's what this lays out. If in the first 30 days, and I'll go through this later, there's goals. First 60 days, additional goals. And of course, 90 days. If you can get through those 90 days one-on-one with your mentee, you're doing them a great service. And then there's, of course, the trainings. And by the way, in this document, which is I can email it. If you click on any of these icons, it'll take you to that actual icon on Toastmasters International. They can see all the speeches. It's really interactive. Leadership opportunities. There are people who in the clubs, in my experience, I've had people say, I've just been promoted, but I don't know how to speak to 5 people or 15 people or 20 people or a few people in the office or people on the computer. Toastmasters does have a way to improve someone's leadership skills, and that can resonate with a new prospect. And then contest. I didn't take this out or elaborate too much other than it's important to know that there's an exciting part. And I will say, being a contestant is a really incredible way to improve your public speaking skills, because oftentimes new members, even members that have been around for a while, they'll write their speech down and they'll recite it monotone, don't look up, and just, yeah, 5 to 7 minutes, I'm done. But competing in a contest, that heightened intensity of wanting to be successful puts new thought processes, new pressures on somebody. And that's what pulls out the vocal variety, the hand gestures, the pauses, and the creative writing, and the time. Contests are important. Of course, spreading the word, this is what we do or need to do on a regular basis. We need to spread the word of Toastmasters, and don't be afraid. And then for a prospect, it's just a simple page. Where am I as a speaker? What goals do I want to commit to or gain? That'll help the president, vice president of education understand what needs that person has. And again, don't be afraid to ask for their dues. And this isn't just a page on what the fee costs are. We are one of the cheapest deals around when you compare it to other public speaking and leadership programs. And the last question, is Toastmasters for you? Well, I'm here. I think it is. And I hope that this small piece, which is easily emailable, speaks to those people as well. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second. Let me see. Just a 2-second, because I don't want to talk for an entire 45 minutes straight. You saw a lot of stuff there, ladies and gentlemen. Like somebody to at least let me know if a piece that you have resembles what you just saw today. Sergey, I have a question. You know, there's a question about leadership, or excuse me, the definition of leadership is leaders set the direction and help themselves and others to do the right thing to move forward. In your 2 clubs, your orientation piece, is this something that might resonate with what you just saw tonight, that you might be able to utilize in your club after you take yourself off mute? Yeah, there you go. I'll get right to you.
The only thing I can say is this: I just admire this gigantic work that put into creating this document. I'm going to start with great importance. We don't have this, but we just use certain fragments that were something that left after you, and they are just part of the so-called guest packet. And this guest packet contains fragments of what you've said, not to such an huge extent, of course, but so we just use a guest packet the way it goes from Toastmasters International. We try to keep them exactly the same way. And I would say right after this, even this habit kind of disappeared after the COVID pandemic, and we're still, because we're back to in-person meetings from April, and but during the summer you understand that it was a lazy period. We didn't do any new packets. So right now we are just going in a very custom way, just keeping the new members based on their desire and based on the fact that the vice president of public
Membership.
talks to them and so on. So we're just using our human presence rather than giving people documents. This is what happens. I'm talking from the position of VPPR. I'm not really taking part in this process, but I can see what happens, and we just not even making this guest packets, which I'm going to, kind of tell them, urge them to do them, because at least. But looking at this document, Todd, I'm thinking about just plagiarizing it and changing the the name of your club with the name of my club, and everything will go okay. If it's okay with you, you're not gonna just sue me for that. Why not?
Thank you, Sergey. That was a great response.
That was about the GTM. I'm not talking about the other club because it's purely online and then nothing of the kind happens there. So
understood. By the way, this document is really helpful for the inquiries that come through the email, because you can respond to somebody very quickly. So I want you to, from that perspective, now Sandra, you had raised your hand. What say you? Once you come off mute.
I can see so many applications for the information in that. Kathy, I was actually thinking about how we could break it up into the various parts on Free Toast Host in the guest area. Also use it for outbound newsletters, as well as in a new guest packet. I mean, it's great. And you completely changed my opinion of contests with what you just said. I've never competed, and I'm not shy. I don't like the procedural part of the contests, but I still see the need to learn more of the hand gestures and the facial and especially the vocal variety, because I am from Minnesota. So I can see how contests would help me in that area. And that's a new way for me to think about it. So thank you. And I look forward to getting this document from you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else want to have a comment on this before I move on to the first 90 days? All right, I'm going to reshare the screen and we'll go through the same format with the second part of this introduction. Everyone sees this? Excellent. Oh, funny thing is, cover, I liked it so much, this person had such a lively image that I used it twice. Clearly, you can customize this. Oh, and by the way, it's not plagiarizing if I give it away, right? It's my gift to D45. And my only ask is that we try to keep it as same-like as possible, or we all change to a new form. In fact, for the last 2 weeks, I've been working with, Tom Maciso in my club had created a subcommittee to modify, to tweak, to give recommendations on this document itself. I've implemented all of those asks. From the perspective, by the way, there was a couple of seasoned members, Tom, of course, and our president, Donna Tasker, and then 2 brand new members. So we got a really good cross-pollination of perspective, right? Of what's in there, what's not in there. The first 90 days, again, this was created out of a need to tell people, what am I asking of you for the first 90 days of your membership? Remember, people, Toastmasters technically does not have an agenda for 12 months for every club to manage and teach. We have this ongoing process that teaches everyone at different levels all the time. So no one really has an expectation, but I did. And other people in Greater Portland Toastmasters, my original club, we knew that we had to give the new members goals. And then we had to also let the mentor know, hey, that person now has goals. So the first document that I showed you was day one. This is the first day of a person's new membership. And this has different content, some similar, but very different, specific to what do I do now that I'm a member? I've given you my money. I have no idea who's what. There are 2 websites I have to go to. What? There's a survey. What? How do I know I'm picking a pathway? What's a pathway? What's a level? How do I enter it? How do I make a speech? What are all these weird hand movements? I have no idea as a new member. And the mentee doesn't always remember to tell that person, excuse me, the mentor doesn't always remember to tell that person everything. So why not put together a quick booklet on what your expectations are? Expectations. So here, congratulations. In your first 90 days, club mentoring program. So things do cross-pollinate between the 2 documents. Mentor form and checklist. I want to show you in detail. Pathways programs, the tools and websites, logging in, getting started with pathways. So survey, select a pathway, choose your pathway, the meeting agenda tool, speech confirmation, explanation of the meeting roles, really important, explanation of the executive committee. Goodness, don't we need to make sure that new members are so comfortable that they eventually want to be executives too. Because we are cyclical, we need to have members take over those new roles. We don't want to be doing everything in the club forever. And of course, summary of a person's first 90 days. Now, this is only 17 pages. So I could email this, I could print it, and double-sided, it's only eight slices of paper. And Sergey had told you earlier, they put it in their introduction package. They are a live meeting club. But if you're hybrid or if it's a prospect, send it. So here we are on page 1 of the detail. Welcome and congratulations. And we want to make sure the club has a mission, and this is our club's mission from Blueberry Hill. So this is now more specific to our club. In your first 90 days, a person will attend meetings, access TI website, take the pathways assessment to select your path, access the Toastmasters website, access the District 45 website for events, trainings, and webinars. Be assigned a mentor and meet with them within the first 30 days. Participate in your first meeting by signing up, and here are the simple roles. We know what they are, and they are safe for somebody right away. Continue signing up for roles. The goal is to hold 4 roles within 90 days. Not a big ask. We're not telling somebody to do a contest or be the president of the club. Just be engaged. The other is volunteer to be a table topic speaker, deliver your icebreaker speech, and learn the key components of a speech evaluation. That's the first 90 days. Somebody does this, all of this in 3 months. You know what? They'll know what they're doing. They'll know what we offer. They'll know how to get to where they're going on their own with less mentorship, but they'll be experienced. Soon, they might be able to show somebody else. If your club is really growing, they could be a mentor quicker by having this information. Again, this page, they work together, but they're so important. And we put this page right away up front, the mentoring. Getting started can be a daunting task for new members. The mentoring program aligns you with a seasoned Toastmaster to provide guidance through your first 90 days or longer. And then here we go. What am I going to do in my first 30 days? I don't want to have to go through it all, but I just talked to you about it earlier. But explain the various parts of a meeting, because there are business, there are table topics, education, speeches, and evaluations. My mentor has to be able to tell my mentee all of these things so that they're comfortable becoming a member so that they raise their hand. Because remember, most people that come through the door are afraid. They're trying to learn something new. And all of it's coming at them right away, but there's no document. They have to find it themselves. That's crazy. Why not use one document where everything is laid out for both the mentor and the mentee? That's what this is about. After the 60 days, explain more roles, continue to help them prepare for more advanced meeting roles. And then 90 days, of course, work with them to establish a short list or long-term goals within Toastmasters, help with your first evaluation, and continue to provide positive feedback and encouragement. This is the mentoring program. Well, I can tell you what to do, but now we support that with a real checklist, a 2-page checklist for every step of the way for the mentor-mentee. Meaning, in general, ensure that they've got on there both the website and that they met or they've picked their goals, or they understand their goals within Toastmasters. So as a mentor, you know how to speak to them. Ensure that they take their survey, ensure that they sign up for Pathways as soon as possible. Remind them to email the VP of Ed to get it in the computer. And then any questions that you haven't asked. Now it's the big stuff, their icebreaker speech. And this repeats itself for all the speeches of the first level in the new format, by the way, for Pathways. So the icebreaker, you want to work with them. Have you signed up for the icebreaker? Make sure they understand the basics of speech organization and how they enter their information on the agenda. And did they get their evaluation to the right person, whether they emailed it, printed it, or delivered it to that person? And then follow up, ask how they thought they did with their speech, and then make sure after that they update their evaluation on their Toastmasters site. And this repeats itself for the next speech, which is writing a speech with purpose. That's speech number 2. And then I put this in here. After a couple of speeches, did you show them our district 45 website for events, trainings, and webinars? Most people don't know what this is about, or will be afraid or reluctant. Why not meet with them online and show that to them, or get them the website? The second page of this document is an introduction to vocal variety and body language. Then the next speech is evaluation and feedback. Speech 1, evaluation and feedback. Speech 2, pretty clear. But it's a constant reminder of the mentor and the mentee to do these checklists. And then at the end, I just want to say here, your mentee just completed their first level of Pathways. You've set them up with the tools to be successful in Toastmasters. Be available if they need support overcoming higher level projects within their Pathways program. Encourage your mentee to participate in contests, webinars, and trainings within the district that meet their personal goals. Encourage them to consider an executive role within the club to help their personal leadership goals too. So never be afraid to gently nudge your mentee forward and take a deeper role within your club. Now, again, this is just a reminder, but while they're going to do their survey, here are the first 11 pathways and the core competencies that we've talked about. This is a direction on how to get on the Toastmasters International website. Click here, click there, whatever. I don't have to tell you because you already know how to do that. And then for our club website, want to make sure that they have that information. And by the way, these are both links, so they can go right to Toastmasters International or Blueberry Hills Toastmaster Club. And how to log on to the TI. It's not always intuitive, so you want to show both people. Getting started with Pathways, Remember how we did our first survey? Well, this is the process. Take the assessment, and it is a step-by-step guide on what you're supposed to do to get to the assessment. And then you take your survey, where to click, take the assessment, continue, as you know, pick your path, continue, and congratulations. So you're walking people right through the most important part, which is getting them started and not waiting. Now, once they have the pathway, they want to do their first speech, you want to show them, okay, I'm ready to sign up for a role. And you bring them to your club's website and the agenda to sign up for roles. Where do I click? How do I do it? How do I sign up? It all lays it out. And then you want to do a speech, and that's fine. But remember, at the beginning, a new member doesn't realize that they have to put in what project they're working on. They don't know all the time that they have to list what the speech title is, or how to write a speech introduction, and that they have to save it, otherwise it never existed. And that's what we do here. After the basics, we want to make sure that our members understand our roles, and it's all listed out nice and clean. All of them, counter, grammarian, so on and so forth. And people can read this. So there's the first one, evaluator, general evaluator, so on. And then the executive club, the club executive committee. You want people to know, what does the president do? I'm 30 days into my first 90 days. Do I really know, as a new member, what the president does, and the vice president of education, and president of membership, and all these different roles? You can't assume that they know it. So let's make sure they have it in their hands right away. You may never know. That new prospect might really enjoy this right away. Maybe it's a perfect thing for them to do. Even if they're new, they might take on a role that you might need fulfilled. And at the last page, summarize that person's first 90 days, broken down to 30, the 60, and the 90s. And basically, at the end of 90 days, will you become comfortable within our club as an active member? That's all we're asking for. Goodness gracious, if I had 18 people that were just comfortable as an active member, I'd have a dynamic club, and so would you. That's all we're trying to accomplish. I'm going to stop sharing. Those are two documents. It's 35 pages. One's 18 pages, one's 17 pages. They're not very big. And by the way, I'll admit, I didn't make everything up. I didn't create all these ideas. I just put them into two documents in a clean manner so that you can use them. That's what this is all about. How can I get the message? How can I care for people that are nervous, unknowing, and not sure where to get the information in two simple documents that, by the way, is transferable to every club, to every person in any country. So I say, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I don't know how I can do these webinars. We can take yourselves off mute. It's 7:52. We have 8 minutes for their questions that came up. Vera, no questions?
No questions as of.
All right. Well, maybe maybe no one wanted to take their eyes off of me for those 50 minutes. And
Exactly.
so, maybe they'll come now. Hi,
Yeah.
Kathy.
Kathy.
What say you?
I don't know it's so much of a question, but we're a yet to charter club. So we have the added information that we have to give because we have to provide them level 1 of pathways as we go through it. So
Okay.
that is an added challenge to us. And to do this, but when you don't have pathways, hands-on. What we do is everybody that joins gets to meet with me for a while, and
Right.
I spend about 45 minutes to an hour with them and talking about who they are and what they want to get out of Toastmasters.
Yeah.
And I also onboard them to our free Toast host experience and show them how to do that, and get them to sign up their bio and put their picture on. And then they have a meeting with Sandra, who works with them on pathways and gets them to define what goals they want to achieve in their own lives, in their working life, or in their
Yeah.
personal life, or their volunteer life. And she works that in to help them, guide them through the pathways experience. And we hand deliver the pieces of a pathway to them.
So I have a
Until-
question. How long have you been, quick answers too. How long have you been doing this process?
Since for a year.
1 year. Now,
Well,
what,
since about November.
call it, all right, almost a year. I have a question for you. What happens when you don't do it anymore? Who knows about everything that you just talked about, besides you and this other person? What is the legacy that you're going to leave the next person? And so I'm not saying what I just showed you is the end all, but do you understand from that scenario to my question? If we don't document what we're trying to accomplish with our members, and then we leave, we go to another club, we resign for a while, we take a break, and no one behind you knows exactly how good you are doing something, it gets lost. And so we wanted to create a
We have other
legacy.
documents too. I'm not saying we don't send them documents, but we have other documents like Welcome to Change Makers, that and links, a page of links and things. We have a lot of that stuff.
Okay,
We have a Google Drive that they can go, a change maker Google Drive that they can access any of these documents on.
okay.
I
Sounds
just
like
wanted
that.
to quickly mention that Blueberry Hill has the free toast house, and I know not every club has that, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that that other site, I'm sorry, can't think of the name of it, but I think
Oh, yeah.
that can also be used as well in this
Okay.
format, so.
Any other questions? Or
No, I agree with you,
processes?
Todd, that I think it's really important to document it so that it can easily transition to the next role, to the next year of officers. And that even having a library or transcriptions of your one-on-one coaching for anybody who has any sight or hearing impairment,
Oh, yeah.
something that
Yeah,
we should build in there as well.
And I was, like I said earlier, I was at the BPM meeting Thursday, I think it was. And I realized that, in Canada, there's a lot of bilingual, or there's an opportunity for bilingual clubs. And I know that this document that I just presented to you doesn't even speak to that. And there's an opportunity to add or modify this, something like this, for even the bilingual opportunity, the clubs that need that. And I wanted to make sure that Kathy wasn't denouncing what you were doing or overstepping.
I was just saying, because we're not chartered, there's added complications is what I was trying to.
Oh, yeah. So the beauty of this, so this booklet that was put together can be sent in PDF form. What's easiest is PowerPoint. If you have Adobe, you can modify Blueberry Hill changes to all of your other clubs names, your websites change, everything changes. And you never know, you might, instead of the 17 pages that we thought were important, maybe it gets to 22 pages because you realize there are certain things that are incredibly important. But if you stay with consistency within your club, and then maybe other clubs within your area, you'll start looking like we're all connected and we're saying the same message. I
And
actually believe, sorry, Tom, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to, I think I heard you say earlier that in that table of contents, that's a hyperlink.
Yes,
And you can, if people want less information, you know, they can just, you can send a couple of hyperlinks and not the whole booklet if you choose
yeah,
to.
yeah, that's right. That was one of the recommendations from our committee. I left it as a booklet now because because if you were a club like Greater Portland or would Greater Portland that meets live, well, they're gonna have to print it out and the hyperlinks don't work, right?
Yeah.
If you are a hybrid club, then you want to do a little of both. The electronic version can do both. You can shrink it down, and just use many hyperlinks to get to the information.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to
Tom,
mention really quickly where,
Almost
got a
there.
couple minutes left, but people have requested the information. I'll make a copy of the chat, but
Yes,
I've
sir.
also copied down the email
Okay.
addresses. We'll get those to you.
Thanks. Vera, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, so Tom, I mean, I haven't seen anything comprehensive like this. I mean, the district can adopt this and make it available on the district website. So that, I mean, it would be available to each member and clubs that is more easily accessible. That's what we can do. Probably we may discuss in the our next meeting or somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk about it. It's just,
Yeah.
we would maybe have to leave, you know, the title of the club blank, obviously, but yeah, we can
Yeah.
definitely talk about it. Yep.
Yeah, like we can
Okay.
adopt something and we can improve, right? We can release
Yeah.
next versions with some improvements. So as of now, we can have it.
Thanks.
Good, that's a good idea, Brewer. Thank you.
I'm mentoring two people right now, and I use this as my tickler for reminding as I walk through people. And of course, I use the Toastmasters International website. Like I'm teaching people on the icebreaker, and I go to TI and you see they have these quick 5-minute videos of hand gestures and vocal variety. And so while we're zooming and talking about their icebreaker organization, how to write the speech, you're introducing some new techniques to them. So using the resources, understanding the resources are available quickly makes us better leaders. That's what this is important. And that's what I want to remind everybody. If we're going to be leaders in our clubs, we have to have access to the information provided easily to people, show that we're part of a larger organization, and not just say, hey, go to Toastmasters International, they'll tell you everything. That's not fair. And that's not practical. And yet I don't know everything. So something like these booklets has helped me be quicker to the ask or the answer for somebody, how to get them through the first 90 days. Josie, what do you think before we go?
Hey Todd, I love the idea, and when we have guests, it looks very professional when we send those booklets or kit, new member kit. I love the idea. I've been visiting so many clubs and for 6-8 months, and I have no idea how much they charge and the concept of the club, and I love those. Thank you.
That's
Thank you
right.
for sharing. I was hoping someone will bring this topic.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you. And just before I go, there are two other small things that we did create when I was with Greater Portland Toastmasters, which was, it was this document where it showed the 11 pathways on one side of the piece of paper. On the other side, what we had where everyone had said, give me a private sentence, what you got from Toastmasters that you didn't expect. And what that does, by the way, to prospects, is you tell them, here's what you get for your money. You could choose one of these pathways. On the other side, when people talked about, I didn't expect to have camaraderie, education, support, wonderful people, blah, 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 whatever. That's what you get for free. And that's a big part of Toastmasters. It's hard to express that without that quick explanation of what people in our club can tell them. So thank you very much for your time. I don't want to.
Sandra had her hand up.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
And I'm sure you're all aware of the Pathways catalog that I authored. That is also a great resource for you to put on your website and to hand out into your new member packets. It allows them to look at an entire path on one page and then go to the individual projects on each page as well. I'll put it into the
Can you
chat.
share that? I'd love, because I've seen things in the past. Maybe you're the person I've seen that of. It's a really long document that had everything on it.
That's
Well,
me.
awesome. Wow. It's a bonus meeting tonight. Thank you.
Um,
Hi, Tom. You have
I'd
the
like
floor.
to thank everybody for attending tonight. Attendance was down a little bit because of the power outage, so I do appreciate your time and attention. We will be sending out the 2 documents we talked about tonight, and I'm sure Todd would be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have concerning, concerning this subject. We're going to continue with these webinars. Our next webinar is October 23rd. Albert Cormier is going to be speaking about dealing with stage fright. And I'm really looking forward to that one because he's going to take a deep dive into that. Todd mentioned briefly in his presentation about she's now an international director on the board. Her name is really hard to pronounce. But she is a PhD and a research scientist, and I had a chance to speak with her in Nashville at the international convention. Really impressed with her. She is like 31 years old, and she's already on the Toastmasters board. She's on the her TED Talk is on the on YouTube, and it's called Fear of Speaking. Don't be afraid of it.
Oh, that's
Work
right.
with it or get it. What is it, Todd? I forget the
Yeah, it's
exact
close to
title.
that. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's Anishwa Bandy is her name. I don't have the spelling, but
I
I'm
do.
sure.
I have the spelling. Actually, I wrote it
Okay.
down.
Okay.
Do you want me to spell it?
Yeah, please.
Her first name, Amisha, is Amesha. And Banerjee, Banerjee. And Sandra, I saw your chat there. You need these by tomorrow or tonight. All right, no problem.
All right. Any
I'll send
final
them the
thoughts
current version.
before we call tonight?
I have a question to you, Tom. After this meeting.
Can somebody remind me how to save the chat?
There's 3 little dots there. Just click on it and it'll say save.
Oh, there it is. I was
It
looking for
says-
those dots.
It'll say save to something, and make sure you save it to, you go right on and open that folder and save it on your desktop or something, because it disappears in some place I can never find it.
Awesome. So that's saved. Thank you very much, Kathy. Okay. Well, again, I'd like to thank everybody. And Varu, if you want to hang on, I can answer your question. But thank you very much for attending. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you
Thanks,
again.
everyone.
Thanks, good night, everyone.
Night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
And
Thank
Todd,
you.
this is a project. Don't forget, I'll be the evaluator. Get credit for this in Pathways.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. That was very helpful.
Thanks, Sandra. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
never
Thanks,
seen
Tom.
That in all the years I've been in Toastmasters, so I really appreciate it. And Tom, if you click right away on CN folder, it'll find your chat for you. It should say right above where you have the 3 dots, it should say show in folder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm just looking to see where it's saved, but,
Well, see, it'll bring up that folder if you click on that.
oh yeah, there it is. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Tom, I saved all the email IDs. I'm going to send you those email IDs. I'll send you.
I'm sorry, Varu, I've got it to stop recording.
Okay.